Hey guys, Stu here from 3B. As some of you may know, I was building a PC yesterday which consists of a AMD Threadripper 1950X and a GPU which was a EVGA GTX 1080ti. It's got 32 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz RAM and a few bits and bobs that I took from old PC. This lag actually you're seeing is from my phone. I've just noticed it lagging on stuff. I don't know why that is. So yeah, I'm just running a stress test using forgotten what it's called, but those of you that know that build PCs will know what I'm running. 3DMark, that's it, it's in the corner, just noticed. And yeah, I'm running the extreme stress test on the PC. It seems to be pretty reliable. I had some problems with it with the M2 cards that I had. They're Kingston, and apparently there's some other there's issues with it, which I've sorted now. But yeah, I've had it before. It was a driver issue, and I've had that with a previous build with Kingston, and it's from those M2 drives are from that build, so it's not a surprise that I had problems with a new one. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the performance. The whole purpose of this was not for gaming. I don't really game so much on a PC, but I wanted to use something that had a lot of grunt for audio and video post-production, which was taking me an awful long time. Even though the videos I do may appear quite simple, they do take a lot to crunch. And now that I want to sort of produce more 4K video for you guys, I just couldn't do that effectively before because it just took so long. I've run a couple of tests on producing 4K video, this being another one. You'll be able to see this in 4K. So the videos from now on, when I'm doing comparative videos, will be in 4K. The standard videos where I'm sort of in front of the camera, you don't need to see me in 4K for that. But the ones where I'm doing comparisons of video quality and what have you, you'll be able to see those in 4K. And very soon you'll be able to see them uncompressed as well, because I'm looking at ways of providing that to you. Yeah, so let's go have a look at the thing I built. So we've got there's the GTX. It's all lit up. We've got the Corsair liquid cooling. All my reflections are coming through, aren't they? So yeah, you can see me mostly than the inside of the computer. But yeah, we've got pretty serious liquid cooling going on. Even under the stress test, it's managing to do pretty well. Can't really see how long there's not a lot to see. Some liquid cooling. The drives are actually in the back. The M2 drives are obviously connected onto the motherboard, so you can't really see those. We don't have any disk drive bays or anything like that because I wanted some room for cooling, so nothing's really affecting how that's coming through. And then I've left the top, there's no fans in the top, so there's no so we can get sort of clear air right through, really. But yeah, this is as loud as it gets under serious load, which isn't bad really. You probably can't hear that because I'm using a microphone on me rather than on the phone. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully we can churn out some 4K comparative reviews for you guys. And try and get it so you can see what's in there. And well, my production speed will increase. So there we go. Also running the benchmark, got a pretty good score. I do have G-Sync running, which will affect the score a bit, but it did do pretty well. I'll just we'll just show it running through on the extreme test. So this is really pushing it, the card and everything else as much as possible. So hopefully we will. It looks really pretty, but even with what I've got on the PC, you know, these 3DMarks really do push the hardware, and you can see that it's. I don't know whether you can hear the audio on that. I'll turn it up. I've got this through my TV and also through my other monitor as well. What I do need to do is I haven't got a quality HDMI cable attached to it, so it won't do HDR right now. Not 10-bit anyway. So, but it looks alright. Seems to be doing okay. And just to remind you, I'm recording this in 4K. So if you go to the YouTube thing and click 4K, you'll be able to see this looking better. But I'm expecting a high quality HDMI lead rather than the crappy thing I've got. I think it's a few years old and it's not ideal. For those of you that are interested, the TV is a Samsung KS8000, the UK version, which is the 9000 in the US. It's a 65-inch 10-bit panel, Ultra HD 4K display with some other bullshit that Samsung make up just to make it sound impressive. But it's a good TV. There's those of us that own these TVs always tend to have an issue with the firmware. But the last firmware, the last firmware for the UK 1203.6 was pretty good. So waiting on 1207.2. But yeah, even with the grunt that this PC has, it's got 16 cores and super fast 1080 Ti graphics card and 32 gigabytes of very fast RAM. It's still, you know, on some of these things it will slow down. If you put it on 4K on YouTube, you'll see this is sort of averaging about 30 to 40 frames per second on this. It's going up a bit more, but It's pretty decent considering what's required to produce all that. These are the ones that really push the hardware, certainly the GPU, to its limits. I tend not to use these just to sort of feel good about what I've spent a ridiculous amount of money on, but more so to stress test it to make sure it's going to deal with what I need it to deal with. The worst thing that I've had a lot is where you're doing audio or video post-production and you've worked hard editing a lot of stuff, and that takes a long time, even for relatively simple videos, to get it right, and then you're having it rendered, and because these things take so long sometimes, certainly on what I was using before, they crap out, you lose all that rendering that it was doing before, and you have to then start again. And that's happened far too many times, and it's very annoying. So to stress test everything, I run something like this a lot when I first built the PC, just to check its reliability. So hopefully it's been doing pretty well for the last few hours, just churning through these over and over and over. It's remained relatively quiet. The CPU, the Corsair liquid cooler cooling down the AMD 1950X has been doing a great job. I can see why AMD recommend for the 1950X Threadripper that you have liquid cooling, because I can't see how any form of air cooling is going to manage to keep it anywhere near where it needs to be. You can see on this, because there's so much going on, it's doing okay, but not great. But then any computer would struggle. But we did okay. We're 6957 score. Those are the stats. If I show you the details, you can see there everything, what I've got running, and then we've got the, see, it didn't get too hot, 80 degrees on the GPU. Frames per second, it's pretty decent, really. There's all the scores there. But it did okay. I've not overclocked it or anything. It's just as is. I will probably tweak just to squeeze as much as possible out of the AMD and also the GeForce, but neither of these have been touched or overclocked in any way whatsoever. So this is sort of the as is, out of the box settings, and we get pretty decent score. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's quite a high score for sort of straight out of the box for what it is. Okay, I hope that's interesting to you guys. Those of us that are nerds, we love this kind of thing. Okay guys, take care. Bye.